My opponent has said that I want to continue to refer to gays as dogs, because I do not want them to have same-sex marriage as a priority, but she is misinterpreting my words. I believe that same-sex marriage is an important topic to be talked about, but I do not believe that it should be the top priority of the LGBT civil rights movement. First, let me extend on my reasons for why same-sex marriage should not be the top priority. First was equal employment. My opponent has stated that if people marry, they will have a greater impact on the economy, but does not mention how. With my option of the ENDA, we will say that the economy is being benefited because there will be more people in the working position, and gays will be allowed to work their way up the ladder without being discriminated, which also ties into what my opponent said about there being discrimination. If the ENDA is passed, there will be less discrimination for gays in the workplace, which leads to less discrimination outside the workplace. Second, gays are not allowed to donate blood. Though my opponent states that they are looking out for AIDS more than sexual orientation, they are discriminating gays by assuming that because two men have had sex, they will have AIDS, though it is possible for a heterosexual couple to also contract AIDS just as easily, again pointing to my opponent's discrimination claim. Third, adoption. There are gays out there who do not want to marry but want children, so why take an extra step and have to approve same-sex marriage to get gays to adopt? Why not just do it now? Like my opponent said, there are many children out there that need to be adopted, and by approving gays to adopt without needing to approve same-sex marriage first, those children will have a greater chance of being adopted. Gays should have the right to adopt children. Whether they are allowed to get married or not should not be an issue. Fourth, schooling. Though being gay is against many religions, that does not mean that they themselves do not want to send their children to religious schools. To avoid this becoming a debate about religion, let's just leave it at the fact that there are gays that want to send their children to private schools and they are not allowed to. Fifth, discrimination in certain communities. I did state in my last speech that though there are laws to prevent discrimination in communities to gays, they are still being discriminated against and even denied insurance for their homes. This is a very big issue that should be a major priority of the LGBT community because though there are laws that are not being abided by, and they should worry about fixing those issues before thinking about others. Next, there should be an order of importance to what is the priority of the LGBT community, and same-sex marriage gives people the opportunity to live their lives as a married couple, things such as the ENDA or allowing gays to adopt have a greater impact on the LGBT civil rights movement than same-sex marriage, and have more benefits to gays than the right to marry. I have not only given you one alternative, I have given you 5 alternatives to what should be placed above the same-sex marriage as the priority of the LGBT civil rights movement. Any one of these can be placed above same-sex marriage or all in a group, but one way or another, I have proven that same-sex marriage is not that big a priority as people make it to be. Much of this has to do with people associating everything gay related to same-sex marriage, and if we look at it in separate level, the issues which I have discussed are vastly more important than same-sex marriage. To conclude, there are very little benefits same-sex marriage has that cannot be given by something outside marriage, such as the ENDA. My opponent posed the very pretty thoughts about gays being bonded by marriage, but in the real world, we are thinking about greater things than two people getting married. Same-sex marriage is an issue that has to be dealt with, so I am stating that I do not believe that gays should be treated as dogs, but I do believe, for many reasons such as the 5 that I have stated, that other issues are more important and should be placed above same-sex marriage.